Alright everyone, welcome to our first match here with the Andrea Mengucci Bug Midrange deck. So, we have 2 cantrips and a noble and 2 Tarmogoyfs, so yeah, we'll see what we can do with this here. Debating, I think we'll lead on the noble. Ooh, duress. Okay. So, oftentimes in Legacy, especially when it comes to duress, I think that the combo decks are much more likely to play that, so we could be up against Storm here. So I think rather than play out the noble, I think we're going to ponder here. And I already messed up. I should have played the Underground Sea and saved my fetch land for a potential Brainstorm or something like that, or just to have the shuffle effect. Okay, so there's a Thoughtseize. So why don't we go ahead and put the Catacombs, the Delta, and the Thoughtseize down, and that way we can pick up the Thoughtseize and then Thoughtseize the next turn and shuffle away that other land. If we survive, there's a good chance we might just be dead. Well, I don't know about a good chance, but there is a chance that we might just be dead. They know that we don't have Force of Will, or Daze or anything like that, so kind of a sitting duck, but see how our opponent's hand comes together here. And we're not going to auto-yield because at the very least we can bluff Force of Will. Alright, so we'll go ahead and once again we kind of have to burn our fetch land here, but we don't want to draw that other land. So we'll just go ahead and get an Underground Sea here and Thoughtseize our opponent. Okay, so Mox Opal, that's interesting. I don't think Storm normally plays that. So our hand is going to get absolutely shredded here. Our opponent's going to be able to take away just about every meaningful piece of interaction if they really want to. I think what we're going to do, though, is we're going to take the Infernal Tutor, and, well, we already play a land, so we can't Wasteland them. So that's why sequencing is very important in Legacy. So we're going to go ahead and take the Infernal Tutor, just because that's a card that feels like it actually does something. And, oh, you know what? I think this might be the Phoenix deck, maybe. Or no, they don't play Infernal Tutor, I don't think. So there is a Phoenix deck that is seeing play in Legacy as well now. It uses Dark Ritual Buried Alive to get 3 Arclight Phoenix and put it into the graveyard. And then of course they play a flurry of spells and reanimate them. So, alright, well there's one Thoughtseize. So our opponent can really go to town on our hand here and kind of take away all of our threats. But after that, they don't have too much going on. Okay. So let's see, I think we're going to take this turn to Inquisition our opponent. We'll go ahead and take this other Infernal Tutor. And then we'll go ahead and get down a Goyf. And we're just going to waste them right now. So they do have the Lotus Petal, which they can chain into the Dark Ritual. Okay. Let's go here and attack with our Tarmogoyf. we'll play the Strix, draw a card, Diabolic Edict. Okay. I think we'll play out the land. I don't think there's any point into holding it in hand at this time. Right, so our opponent did manage to find a land there. Okay. Go ahead and get in with the Goyf here. So we have our opponent on a pretty quick clock. But again, I imagine that they probably don't have a creature-based win condition. So these cards are probably not going to be too impressive here. But I could be wrong. The Mox Opal's are really kind of throwing me off, to be honest. Because in Legacy there's two primary builds of Storm that I'm aware of. There's Ant, which is Ad Nauseam Tendrils, and then there's TES, which is the Epic Storm. And there's a couple differences that I'm not versed enough in the format to speak about. I think we're just going to hold the rest of these cards in our hand here. And this is it for our opponent. They have to try and go off here. But anyway, I'm not sure whether they could play... Okay, so there's a Chrome Mox. So they have things like Chrome Mox and Mox Opal and stuff like that, so I can see. Alright, so there's the Thoughtseize. There's a Lotus Petal. There's the Mox Opal. So our opponent has plenty of mana now. Dark Ritual and 2 unknown cards. Storm count is 3. This might just be if they have the card, it might just be like a Desperation Tendrils. Okay. Storm count is 4. So our opponent, assuming that they don't have, well, they could even play a land here yet, so they could potentially open their, or empty their hand and cast an Infernal Tutor and get there. I think it's like a Burning Wish. Okay. All right. So I think we got away with something there. So we're gonna bring in the Spell Pierces. We're gonna bring in the Thoughtseize, the Collected Brutality. I think take out the Jitte. I don't think this is a matchup for Sylvan Library. Force of Will needs to stay in because they can probably kill us turn 1. I feel like we want some form of Grave Hate, but I'm not sure what it would be. I think, actually, you know what, here, I think the Fatal Pushes are bad, and the Diabolic Edicts are bad. So let's bring in... It's too surgical enough. I'd like to find room for one more somewhere. Maybe cut the Strix, because they just don't do enough. Then we're really all in on the cantrip. Alright. Might not be correct, but we'll go ahead and... Alright, we'll cut 1 Strix. And we'll submit like that. Because we don't want to go too low on our... Which I didn't even think to look. We don't want to go too low on our blue card count either. Or else then we can't cast Force of Will when we need to. So this hand does protect us from turn 1 shenanigans, but it's kind of slow. I guess we'll go ahead and keep it, because I'm not even 100% sure what we're supposed to be. What we're supposed to be guarding against, if I'm completely honest, but we do have Force Pitch Leovold, so I think we let that resolve. I mean, they're Ponder, okay. If anything, more than likely, I guess they could Duress and take our Force anyway. That's something they could do, especially if they drew into a land here. Okay, a Lotus Petal, a Lion's Eye Diamond. Alright, so our opponent might be going for it here. They can crack the Lion's Eye Diamond, and with the trigger on the stack, when they have to discard their hand, they can, there's something cheeky that they can do with that. So if this is, okay, so there's the tutor. There's the mana. So we need to do this. Now our opponent has not a lot going on. And we drew a second Leovold. Okay. So we'll go ahead and play the Underground Sea. And pass back to our opponent, who now has to completely rebuild. They have no cards in hand, so we won't do that, actually. So let's just fetch here, get a Bayou. And we can start getting a clock on our opponent. So I think what we're going to do... Okay, so we can't play our Leovold next turn unless we draw a land. Tarmogoyf is a 4/5 though already. Right. Burning Wish. Okay, so we might have to Thoughtseize this next turn. Past in Flames. Do we Thoughtseize Past in Flames? Alright, so this is an important turn, and I don't feel like I know enough about the game to make an informed decision. So they have the Past in Flames. They're a little ways away from being able to cast it, so I think I'm going to get the Leovold down here. My thought is that I will try to stymie their ability to sculpt their hand. Oops. I mean, they could rip like a Dark Ritual and kind of maybe put us in a bad spot, but we'll let them draw another card here. Then we can Thoughtseize them on our next turn. Okay. And that's all for that, I guess. So unfortunately, our opponent's deck didn't really do a whole lot for him. I do think so. With seeing the Burning Wish, like I said, I think that's the card that is the Burning Wish is the card that delineates, I think, one of the Storm Ant from TES, and I don't remember which one is which. But yeah, so we're definitely against one of the popular, I guess, Storm decks in the combo. Whether they play this normal amount of Chrome mocks and the other mocks, I'm not 100% sure. But all right, well there we go. We are 1-0, and I will catch you in the next match.